Вот ты пытаешься выучить русский язык, но ты не знаешь, с чего начать. Не волнуйся, дорогой зритель этого видео, потому что я, как ученик русского языка, тоже когда-то был на твоем же месте. Но теперь я свободно говорю на русском, и в этом видео я поделюсь с тобой ресурсами, которые я использовал, чтобы ты тоже мог выучить русский язык. What's up everybody, my name's Zion and I'm an American polyglot that's been learning languages for the past 10 years, and now I make these videos on YouTube about learning languages to hopefully inspire some of you to do the same. And I know I haven't been around for a long time. I've been navigating a new job and a new place, but now we're back, and today I'm addressing one of the most commonly asked questions that I get, which is, what resources did I use to learn Russian? If you've been following my channel for a while, you already know that I speak Russian pretty well, actually. It's one of the best languages that I speak out of the 7 or so languages that I currently speak. But obviously it took a lot to get there. And a lot of you always ask what music I've listened to, what websites I've used, what are the resources? What's the secret? Well, finally, I'm giving you guys what you've been asking for. In this video, we're gonna go through each and every one of the resources that I used most to learn Russian online, on my own, and for free. So without further ado, let's get into some Russian stuff.
Achoo!
Achoo.
Achoo! Achoo!
Alright, so first off, let's get into the websites that I use. These are free websites online that you can use to learn the language, improve grammar, and learn vocabulary and whatnot. The first and foremost website that I use to learn Russian is called Learn Russian on RT.com. Yes, this is the same RT as in the Russian news network, Russia Today. And so this also means that this resource is directly funded by the Russian government, just like Russia Today. Unfortunately, due to geopolitical circumstances, some of you, depending on where you live, may have a hard time accessing this website, but that's okay, because this website is still a great resource for learning the alphabet, learning grammar, taking tests to test your knowledge, and the lessons still work. If you click on the lessons, it'll redirect you to a new page, which is called Gateway to Russia, which is also funded by the Russian state and still has functional lessons that you should be able to access from wherever you are. But if you would still like to access this resource in the same format that it was in when I was first learning Russian, there's an alternative. There's a website called Explora.com, which you can use to access the exact same lessons in PDF format for free, the way they were before the website became unreliable. And as you can see, all of these lessons are still here, and they go from 1 to 99, allowing you to learn at virtually any level that you might be at. This is great for beginners, for intermediate learners, and for advanced learners. Hell, I might still even be able to learn something from this resource myself. Number 2, the second best website is called LearnRussian.net. Very similar, but not on RT.com, it's LearnRussian.net. This website also features tons of lessons, as well as vocabulary and much, much more. I particularly use this website to learn how to use Russian verbs of motion, which are a pretty big and somewhat difficult concept to grasp. But again, this is a resource that's great for any level of learner, for beginners, for intermediates, and for advanced learners. And best of all, of course, it's free. The third best website that I've found and that helped me the most is called MasterRussian.com. This website, again, is very similar to the other two in the sense that it has lessons, it has grammar, it has vocabulary, but I personally got the most value from this resource for its vocab lists. It's got lists of the 1,000 most used words in Russian, as well as the 1,000 most used verbs in Russian. And when you click on each verb and on each word, it gives you examples of how it's used, its declensions, just about everything you need to know about that verb or word. And of course, you guessed it, it's free. Doesn't get better than that, come on. Next, the second best resource that I've personally used to learn Russian, and I've talked about this and referenced this in so many of my other videos, is Discord. Discord, if you don't know what that is, it's a communication app that was initially primarily used by gamers to be able to converse with one another while playing different video games, but now is kind of just an app for people to be able to chat via text or voice with each other. And one of the great things about the Discord app is there's servers exclusively for language exchanges on there. And on Discord, there are also Russian language learning servers where both natives of English and Russian both go to practice with one another. You can either be in a chat room where you're basically chatting with people at different skill levels. It's usually divided between advanced, beginner, intermediate, etc. for both English and Russian, or you can join a chat room and converse with people. And these servers are pretty popular. They're pretty poppin'. So you can pretty much go on any one of these servers at any time of the day, any day of the week, and find people to either text with or speak with in Russian. And the best part about it is it's a language exchange. So you can speak to a Russian native speaker who's learning English while you're learning Russian as an English native speaker. And even better, it's all free. All you need to do is make a free account. I've already shared a couple of the servers that I like to use on the screen, but I'll leave the links to those servers as well as a few additional ones that I found in the description below. And actually there's some Discords that are just for Russians, where Russians go to interact with each other, I guess when they're bored or have nothing else to do. Also a great place to go and interact with people if you want to throw yourself into the deep end and speak with people that probably speak no English whatsoever. I'll share that Discord in the description below as well. I genuinely believe one of the best ways to learn a language is through conversation and actually using the language, and this provides you with just the perfect opportunity to do so, especially if you live in a place where you can't regularly speak or practice Russian. Next, there's VK. So if you don't know what VK is, it's short for Vkontakte, and it is the most popular social media platform in the former Soviet Union countries, including Russia. Yes, Russians use Instagram, Facebook, etc., but no other platform is nearly as popular as VK. And so making an account on VK is kind of a no-brainer if you're trying to learn Russian and engage with the Russian community or learn more about Russia. But where the language learning part comes in is it's kind of like a mix of Facebook and Instagram. And so once you have an account on VK, you can also access a lot of these different groups. And some of these groups are also for learning languages, including English and Russian. So the same thing that you do on Discord, you can do on VK and join some of these groups that are about learning English or learning Russian or act as a language exchange, and you'll find far more people to practice Russian with and speak Russian with than on any other social media platform. One of my personal favorite groups is Я люблю русский язык, which is a group on VK, which is dedicated to learning Russian, studying Russian, and just everything about the Russian language. And the best part about it is it's geared towards Russian natives. But don't be afraid, don't let this deter you. You can engage with them as well, and they're super friendly, and they will answer just about any question you have about the language. It's great. And some of you might even find some useful pen pals. And of course, it's free. All right, number 4, let's get into some YouTube video content, the kind of things you can watch to learn Russian and what I personally used. Now, obviously it's a no-brainer. You kind of have to find content that you personally enjoy in Russian, and I'm sure you could go online and find numerous Russian language content creators that you could watch to kind of get used to hearing the language and just get some practice that way. But one channel that sticks out to me in particular and that I really enjoyed using is Easy Russian, and I'll leave a link to their channel in the description below. Great channel, and it's geared towards English speakers that are learning Russian. And it's basically Russian people walking throughout the streets of Russia, Belarus, all the Russian-speaking countries, and just interviewing people about different topics. And you can get an idea of what these people think about these topics and also learn Russian at the same time, because these interviews usually have captions in English and Russian. So you can kind of see exact translations of what they're saying as well as what they're saying in Russian. Super useful, very entertaining, and trust me, it'll help. It helped me. It'll help you. So shout out to Easy Russian. I'm not sponsored. They're really just that useful. All right, number 5, music. I think music is a great way to learn a language, especially if you're someone that enjoys music, because once you find something that you really like about a language, it becomes that much more satisfying and just easier to learn, because now you're doing something you enjoy while regularly being exposed to the language. And so I'm literally about to go on Spotify and tell you guys some of my favorite Russian language artists that you guys should definitely check out. But even if you don't like the style of music or these artists in particular, maybe it'll lead you to find some Russian artists that you do like. All right, let me pull up my Russian language playlist. All right, number 1, one of my favorite Russian language artists, he's actually from Belarus, is Max Gorsh. Great type of music. I really like him. You should definitely check him out. Another one, if you're into rock or punk rock or alternative, is Три дня дождя, which means like 3 days of rain. Amazing artist, love his songs, and he makes quite a lot of music still. All right, if you're into hip hop or rap, you should check out Noise MC. I would say that's my 3rd favorite Russian artist to listen to. Kind of a classic, reminds me of Eminem, so you kind of get the kind of music it is. And then I'm just gonna list a couple more artists that I think are pretty good and that are pretty popular right now. Amirchik, Какая разница, Grillaz, Kosmonavtov нет, Skriptonit. Oh, and if you like classic rock, you have to listen to Kino. It's a Soviet band, exclusively Soviet because their lead singer pretty much died during the Soviet Union, so it's like exclusively Soviet, but Viktor Tsoi and Kino, great. Hopefully that gives you a few ideas about music to listen to. If you like these artists, great. Maybe you'll enjoy them as much as I did. Makes learning Russian so much easier. All right, number 6, last but not least. It might seem kind of crazy that this is the next one, but video games. Maybe you're not into video games as much as I am, but this was more true, I guess, in the past. But I used to play a lot of video games, and Russians also like a lot of video games. There's, of course, the stereotypical games that Russians usually play, such as CSGO and World of Warcraft. I never played them personally. If you do, great. I'm sure you won't have a hard time finding Russian speakers. But I played a lot of first-person shooters, think Battlefield, Call of Duty. Russians play a lot of those things. If you find video games like those where Russians consistently play, another way to do something you enjoy, you love, and you're able to, well, practice Russian. Well, alright guys, relatively short video, not that many resources, but all the resources that I listed in this video thus far are probably 90% of the resources I used to learn Russian, and now I speak it fluently, which just goes to show that these are pretty in-depth resources if you know how to use them. I hope they helped you just as much as they helped me, and yes, I genuinely did not use any textbooks or really read any books to learn Russian. I personally don't enjoy reading textbooks and writing down homework or what have you. The typical academic style of learning wasn't really for me, but I still learned how to speak fluently. Anyways, if you have any questions about these resources, please feel free to leave your questions down in the comments below and I'll try my best to respond. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps me out, tells the algorithm you guys love me, and tell me what you guys want to see for the next video. But as always, thanks for watching, keep learning those languages, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.